It has been 1 year since my husband and I got married. I thought we would have kids by now, but we have had trouble doing it naturally and started fertility treatment. Fertility treatment was more mentally taxing than I had imagined, and I had to go to the hospital on certain days, so I had no choice but to quit my job. I went to several hospitals and underwent various tests, and my body was perfectly normal and healthy. The doctor at the hospital told me that my husband should get tested too. I was going to consult with him with the information about the tests. I came home thinking about how I didn't want to tell my husband about the tests. My mother-in-law was relaxing in the living room. "You were at the hospital today, right? So what were the test results?" "They told me there was nothing wrong with my body." "And yet, you can't get pregnant. There's definitely something wrong with you. Why don't you try another hospital?" "Okay, I will." My mother-in-law lives in the neighborhood and my husband gave her a duplicate key to our house. She frequently comes to our house. I quit my job because I was home more often than not. My mother-in-law was constantly beating me over the head about the fact that I stopped working. My mother-in-law left in the evening, and then my husband came home right after. I made up my mind and decided to talk to my husband about the tests. I went to the hospital again today, and they said there is nothing wrong. They said I should be able to conceive naturally. But if we can't wait for a natural pregnancy, they think you should get tested too. So please, will you get yourself tested too? "Do I have to get tested? I can't be bothered taking the time off work." "It's not a must, but if you want to have a baby soon, I heard that it's better for men to take the test too if they want to have a baby." "My mom is also nagging me to have a baby. I guess I have no choice but to get tested." I managed to convince my husband, although reluctantly, so he got a fertility test. I called the hospital right away, and a few days later, I got the test results. They said it would take about a week to get the test results, but if we find out we weren't able to get pregnant because of my husband, we could try different fertility treatments. But a few days later, my husband gave me shocking news. The person I've been having an affair with is pregnant. I was flabbergasted and went into a state of shock. The fact that he was cheating on me and made someone else pregnant was unacceptable, and somehow my mother-in-law was invited to the discussion. My mother-in-law sounded very happy and started talking. "That's great! Even if it's with your mistress, I'm glad you're having a baby. You should divorce Luna and marry the other woman." My mother-in-law's comment was so shocking that I couldn't say anything. I froze again. "I was actually told by my partner to break up with her because she got pregnant. But after hearing your opinion, Mom, I've made up my mind. I'm remarrying the cheater for the sake of my kid." I was sure the saying, "if parents are parents, children are also children," was made to refer to the two of them. This parent and child both have a few screws loose. The love I had for my husband was gone. I'm sorry to interrupt this conversation, but I really need to get my feelings straight. In the meantime, can you tell me when you started having an affair? "About 6 months ago. She's a very nice girl. She's so neat and cute." "Oh yeah? Can I see what she looks like?" And then my husband showed me his phone, and I was even more astonished. The woman to whom he was having an affair with was a former junior colleague of mine. "She told me that she works at the company you used to work for. Do you know her by chance?" "Sorry, I don't know her." "Anyway, I'm going to marry this girl. But you want to sort out your feelings, right? I'll let you decide tonight what you want to do, and you can give me your answer tomorrow morning." I left my husband and mother-in-law in the living room and went back to my room. I sorted out the facts of what's happening. One thing is for certain, I'm getting a divorce. My husband has also confessed that he cheated on me. He will probably pay me alimony. What was essential was the girl he cheated on me with. Yesterday, just as I was looking at Facebook, I remembered that she had posted something. I checked her Facebook profile and saw that she was getting married. However, the picture was not of my husband, but of another man. Along with the marriage report, it also stated that she was pregnant. It turned out that my husband was her unfaithful partner in crime. I couldn't hold back my laughter and burst out laughing in my room alone. My husband deserves all that is coming his way. I still felt like an idiot for not knowing this truth. After a quick laugh and a good night's sleep, I packed my things in my room and went to bed. I was having breakfast as usual the next morning when my husband spoke to me. "I've been waiting all day to hear your answer. Like you proposed, we'll get a divorce." "Thank God you're agreeing to the divorce. I was afraid you'd say you didn't want a divorce." "I wouldn't do that. You can do as you please from now on. I'll send you the divorce papers in the mail, so make sure to sign them. And after I put away the breakfast dishes, I grabbed my things and left the house. While I was looking for an apartment nearby, I ended up staying in a hotel in front of the station for about a week, but I had to quit my job. I couldn't find a place to rent. I decided to go back to my parents' house and take my time to slowly look for a job. I noticed a large number of incoming calls from my mother-in-law. Begrudgingly, I decided to answer the phone. "Luna, you finally answered the phone! I've been worried about you because you haven't answered for so long. You remember that woman my son cheated on you with and got pregnant, right? Well, it turns out he wasn't the father, and it looks like my son has been duped." I didn't expect my mother-in-law to tell me that. I stifled a laugh and decided to listen anyway. "I've heard that when my son proposed to the girl with whom he was having an affair, he was told that it wasn't his son. The man she was actually marrying turned out to be the father." "Oh, I didn't know that. So, Luna, I want you to get back together with my son right now." "What do you mean?" I was trying to hold back my laughter when she said something that shocked me. My voice started to sound funny from holding it in. "This means my son doesn't have a child, so why don't you two start over again?" My mother-in-law spoke to me as if she was stating the obvious. I finally spoke back to her. "I would never get back together with someone who cheated on me, so please don't contact me again." "Are you aware of who you're talking to?" "I've already filed for divorce. We don't have a relationship anymore. We're strangers." "Don't be ridiculous. I contacted you because I was thinking of you." "I don't need to be lectured by a stranger. I have nothing to do with your son anymore." "You're not going to pay me back for all the favors I've done for you? I can't believe it. What a horrible person." "I have no recollection of being indebted to you from the time I was married to my husband until now." I kept getting sarcastic comments about my inability to conceive. "Have you ever thought about how I feel?" "Well, I was just thinking of you guys. I don't remember saying anything sarcastic towards you." "Oh, I see. You weren't aware of that. I've been uncomfortable with you being sarcastic to me for a long time. I don't want to have anything to do with you ever again. Please don't contact me at all in the future." My mother-in-law sounded confused when I said all that. Then she started to beg. "Please don't! I didn't mean it! I'm not going to say anything else about the pregnancy from now on. Please get back together with my son." "I will never get back together with your son. At a later date, my attorney will send your son documents regarding alimony for cheating on me. Please tell him that." With that, I hung up the phone and blocked my mother-in-law's number. This was the first time I was able to argue with my mother-in-law. I felt very refreshed. After that, I felt refreshed every day because I no longer had a source of stress. After a week in the hotel, I moved back to my parents' house and started looking for a new job. I was happy to make a fresh start and thought that my days would be filled with joy, but those days would soon change. On the day, while I was in a job interview, I received a call from my mother. I picked up the phone right away, and my mother sounded panicked. "Luna, come home right now." "What? What happened all of a sudden?" "Just a few minutes ago, your ex-husband and his mother paid me a visit at our house. I told them you weren't home, and they said they'd wait until you come back. They don't seem to be leaving anytime soon. What should I do? Should I call the police?" "Mom, calm down. I'll be home soon. If he tries to do something before I get home, don't hesitate to call the police right away." I quickly returned to my home. When I arrived, my ex-husband was sitting on the front porch waiting for me. My mother-in-law was sitting in a chair in disapproval, and she appeared to be having a discussion with my mother. "I am so sorry for what I did to Luna. I feel horrible about the fact that I cheated on her. I want to get back together with Luna, so please try to convince her." "It's her choice. I can't persuade my daughter. I think my daughter will come home now soon, but it would be useless to discuss this directly with her, so can you please leave?" My mother was trying to finish it quickly, but ended up pissing off his mother in the process. "My son is going through all this and you won't even cooperate with him? It's true. If you're the parent of a parent, then you're the child of a child. You and your daughter have no sense of courtesy. I don't care what Luna wants. All you have to do is what I tell you to do. Please convince her to remarry my son." I snapped at her words. I rushed to the door and told my ex-husband and mother-in-law, "I'm the one who's involved in this, so it should matter what I want. I am not your tool." My sudden appearance at the door startled my mother-in-law and ex-husband. My mother and ex-husband looked surprised. My mother-in-law glared at me as she continued to yell. "What did you hear? Did you hear what I said? I never said anything about you being a tool." My mother-in-law never wavered in her assertion, and I continued to fight back. "Regardless of my wishes, you want me to have a baby with your son as soon as possible, right? You always talk about a roundabout way, but that's what it seems like to me." "Well, then I guess you'll just have to do exactly what you just said. My son is begging over here. I'd appreciate if you'd behave accordingly." "I would never remarry him. Even if you stormed into my parents' house like this, I will not change my mind. I don't want anything to do with you people ever again. If you stay in my house any longer, I will call the police right now, and please never contact us ever again." "Call the police? We're just here to talk. The police have nothing to do with this. If you call the police, I will hate you for the rest of my life." My mother-in-law overreacted to the word police. She seemed considerably more furious than before. "Luna, please, I'm sorry. Please remarry me, I beg you. Please forgive me." My ex-husband saw my mother-in-law like that and didn't do anything to stop her. He just kept begging me to forgive him. The chaos was staggering to me and my mother. In the midst of all this, I suddenly remembered something. Since this is a rather sensitive subject, I was going to keep it secret. To fight off my ex-husband and mother-in-law, I decided to tell them the truth. And I have to tell you something else. We had a hard time having kids, didn't we? It looks like you were the reason. "What? What the hell are you talking about?" "I'm the cause of your infertility? I don't understand. What do you mean?" "Before you told me about your affair, remember when I asked you to do a fertility test?" "Yeah, I remember." "Well, I received the results after our divorce. The test results show that you were the one that was infertile. That's why I couldn't get pregnant before. There was nothing wrong with me." No way." "No, that's not true. My son is healthy. He's never even had a cold in his life." If you find it hard to believe, I took a picture of the medical certificate. I'll show it to you now. I showed them the screen on my phone. They both turned pale. "Now, do you trust that I am telling the truth? If you still doubt me, please go to the hospital to confirm it." "Oh no, so I can't have kids?" I only heard the results, not the details of the treatment. If you want to know about the treatment, why don't you go there yourself? My ex-husband and his mother were in a state of despair when they found out the truth about his inability to have children. There was silence for a while. Then my mother started talking to my ex-husband and mother-in-law. "All this time you have been blaming my daughter of your infertility? My daughter was very patient and never complained. I think it must have been very painful for her to work so hard on her own all these years since getting married. If you are both sorry now, would you please apologize to my daughter? And please stay away from my daughter." My mother was talking with a trembling voice, and I was so sorry that I gave her a hard time. "I'm sorry, so sorry. I didn't mean to blame you, Luna. I just wondered why we couldn't get pregnant. I can't believe it was all my fault, and I'm so sorry." "I'm not remarrying you because you're infertile. No matter what your mother-in-law said, I wanted to have a child with you. I've tried my best. And then you wouldn't even help me at my lowest. And not only that, you cheated on me. I can't forgive you for cheating on me and betraying me." When I said that to my ex-husband, that had just apologized to me, my mother-in-law came out of nowhere and made excuses. "I was just trusting my own son all along. My son told me that you couldn't get pregnant. You know, most infertility is caused by women, so I just assumed that you were the problem. I only assumed that just because my son said so. I never tried to put the blame on you." "What are you talking about? Every time I saw you, you kept blaming me for having an infertile body. I was in so much pain every time I saw you. I was stressed out." "Oh no, I didn't mean to accuse you of that. You just took it the wrong way. I was trying to encourage you in my own way." I snapped again at her words. "That's enough. Why do you always blame others? There are people who are being hurt by what you say. It's not human nature to acknowledge that. I don't want to go back to a family with these kinds of people. I will never get back together with my ex-husband. I don't ever want to see him again." My mother-in-law seemed to have given up and turned her head to the side, and my ex-husband's face turned red and he was fighting back tears. "Luna, I'm really sorry for everything I've done, and I promise I'll never seek you out again. Come on, Mom. Let's go home. If we stay here any longer, they really will call the police. My ex-husband and my mother-in-law finally left our house. Finally, I was able to fight off my ex-husband and mother-in-law. After that, my ex-husband contacted me through his lawyer and offered to pay me alimony. He said he would pay me the amount of money I had billed him. And of course, I sent the alimony bill to his cheating partner as well. She paid me the same amount of money as my ex-husband in one lump sum. Thanks in part to the early payment of alimony, I was able to slowly and unhurriedly get a new job. I heard a little about the current situation of my ex-husband and mother-in-law from the lawyer who was in charge of the case. First, my ex-husband's affair was found out by his company. He's been demoted from his original position, and he resignated from the company because of the changed attitude around him. He is paying me alimony in installments, but he still has a hard time paying his monthly expenses. He has found a new job, but he has to work night shifts to make ends meet. And about my mother-in-law, she feels betrayed and depressed because her son was the reason she couldn't have grandchildren. She is very depressed because of what happened. The neighbors know that I divorced my ex-husband because he cheated on me. She's even more worried about her surroundings and can't go outside anymore. She's now living a reclusive life at home. My ex-husband and my mother-in-law both got what they deserved, so I hope they learn to be nicer people. As for me, I recently got a new boyfriend. I had a local friend set up a blind date, and we successfully started dating. He is a very kind and good person, and he makes me relax when I'm with him.